I still remember that day like it was yesterday. I was only 15, standing in the middle of a crowded airport with my backpack slung over my shoulder, and my heart pounding in my chest. My mom had promised me we were going on a family trip. Something fun, something memorable. I was excited because after my dad's passing, I longed for time with her. I thought this was her way of showing that I still mattered, even after she remarried. But instead, she looked me straight in the eye and said words that shattered me. "Sweetheart, you'll be fine here. I'll send you money later. I need this vacation with Robert. We deserve it." Then she turned her back on me, just like that. I froze, thinking she must be joking. Who leaves their 15-year-old child stranded at an airport just to sip champagne on a luxurious cruise with their new husband? The crowd bustled around me. Families laughed. Couples held hands. Kids ran to their parents. And I stood there, abandoned, betrayed, with tears burning in my eyes. My calls to her went straight to voicemail. My messages were left unread. Hours passed. I had no money, no food, nowhere to go. I sat by the terminal window watching planes take off, each one reminding me that my mom had chosen a new life without me. That night, I slept on a cold bench. My phone battery drained, my body shivered, and my mind screamed. Why wasn't I enough? Why was I disposable? That was the night I made myself a promise. If my own mother thought I was weak and unworthy, I'd prove her wrong. I wouldn't just survive this. I'd turn this betrayal into the fuel that would change everything. The morning after that cold, sleepless night at the airport, I woke up stiff, hungry, and more lost than I'd ever felt in my life. The announcements of departures and arrivals echoed through the terminal, reminding me that everyone had a destination. Except me. My stomach growled, but I had no cash, no credit card, nothing but a half-empty water bottle and my backpack with a few clothes. I tried calling Mom again, desperate, hoping she had changed her mind. Straight to voicemail. I texted her, "Please, Mom, I don't have food. Please come back." The message showed delivered, but hours later, still no reply. That's when the realization hit me. She hadn't just left me temporarily. She had abandoned me. The airport security noticed me lingering. A man in uniform asked, "Son, are you waiting for someone?" My throat tightened. I didn't want to admit the truth. If I said I was abandoned, they might send me to foster care or worse. So I forced a smile and said, "Yeah, just waiting for my mom's flight." He nodded but kept glancing at me with suspicion. I had to think fast. I wandered into a cafe and asked if they had leftover food. The cashier, a kind woman in her 30s, gave me a small bag of pastries at closing time. That meal felt like a feast. I ate slowly, tears slipping down my cheeks, wondering why kindness came from strangers and not my own mother. Days turned into a blur. I washed up in the bathroom sink, tried to sleep in corners where security wouldn't bother me, and wrote in a small notebook from my backpack to keep my sanity. Each word was a reminder. Don't give up. One day, you'll show them. On the fourth night, as I sat by the large glass windows staring at the runway lights, something inside me hardened. I couldn't stay a helpless kid forever. If Mom had chosen her rich new husband and her luxurious vacation over me, then fine. I didn't need her anymore. I would become strong on my own. I found out jobs around the airport helping travelers with luggage, cleaning tables, anything that would earn me a few dollars. Slowly, I managed to buy meals instead of begging for scraps. I even made a friend, an older janitor named Carl, who noticed me struggling. "Kid," he said one night, "life's rough, but if you keep fighting, you'll make it. Don't let anyone decide your worth." His words lit a spark in me. For the first time since being abandoned, I felt a strange sense of power. My mom thought she'd left me broken, but instead, she had created someone tougher than she could imagine. And right then, I silently swore the next time she saw me, she wouldn't recognize the person I'd become. Months passed, and the airport no longer felt like a prison. It became my training ground. Every challenge, every hunger pang, every sleepless night had carved resilience into me. I wasn't just the abandoned 15-year-old anymore. I was learning to fight for myself. Carl, the janitor who had become my silent guardian, eventually introduced me to a shelter nearby. It wasn't perfect, crowded rooms, strict rules, and broken people, but it was better than sleeping on cold benches. There, I met other kids who had been tossed aside by families who were supposed to love them. Their stories mirrored mine, and together, we found strength. But deep inside, the wound my mother left never healed. I couldn't erase the image of her walking away from me at the airport, her suitcase rolling behind her, her hand intertwined with Robert's. It replayed in my mind like a cruel movie, fueling my determination. At school, I threw myself into studies. I was always good at numbers, and now I treated every math problem like a weapon. Teachers noticed. "You've got talent," one said. "Don't waste it." That praise was something I had never received at home. I lived for it. By the time I turned 17, I had earned a scholarship for advanced summer classes. That small victory felt enormous. While my mom was probably still sipping champagne on exotic vacations, I was building something real, something she could never take credit for. One evening, while working a part-time job at a diner, I overheard a wealthy customer discussing stock investments. I didn't understand much, but curiosity pulled me in. I started reading, studying financial markets at the library late into the night. Soon, numbers began to make sense in ways I never imagined. By 18, I was trading small amounts I saved from tips. By 19, I was doubling and tripling what little I had. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was rising. Yet, in the quiet hours of the night, the same question haunted me. Would my mom ever regret it? Did she ever once think of me when she was lounging in luxury with Robert? Or was I just a chapter she had closed for good? I didn't know then, but fate had a cruel sense of timing. Because one evening, nearly 5 years after she abandoned me, I received a message. It wasn't from her, it was from a family friend who had no idea what she had done to me. The message said, "Your mom's back in town. Things didn't work out with Robert. She's looking for you." My heart pounded. She wanted to see me. After all these years, after throwing me away like I was nothing. I stared at that message for a long time, torn between rage and curiosity. And then I smiled bitterly. Maybe it was finally time. Time to show her exactly what she had created. The day I finally saw her again, my chest tightened with emotions I didn't even know how to name. Rage, hurt, longing, and something darker all twisted together. I agreed to meet her at a cafe downtown, more out of curiosity than forgiveness. I wanted to see the woman who had abandoned me like luggage she no longer wanted to carry. When I walked in, she was already there. Her hair was styled, her makeup perfect, but there were faint lines around her eyes I didn't remember. She looked up, her lips parting in surprise. For a moment, she didn't recognize me, and that was exactly what I wanted. "Is that you?" she whispered. "Yes," I said, my voice steady. "It's me, the son you left at an airport 5 years ago." Her eyes darted away, shame flickering across her face. But then she tried to smile, as if she could smooth it all over. "Sweetheart, you've grown so much." I wanted to explain. "Things with Robert, they didn't turn out the way I thought. He left me, and I cut her off. So now you remember you had a child?" The words hung heavy between us. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. For the first time, she seemed small, fragile. But I wasn't here to comfort her. I leaned forward, my voice sharp. "Do you have any idea what she did to me? Do you know what it feels like to sleep on cold benches? To beg strangers for food? To wonder every single day why your own mother decided you weren't worth loving?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I made mistakes. I thought Robert would take care of us. I thought..." "No!" I snapped. "You thought he would take care of you. I wasn't part of your plan. I was baggage." Silence settled. The other customers in the cafe shifted uncomfortably, sensing the storm at our table. Then I pulled out my phone and placed it on the table. "You left me with nothing, but I built my life back piece by piece. I studied, I worked, I invested. Everything I have, I earned alone. And you know what? I don't need you anymore." Her face crumbled. "Please, I just want a second chance. I have nothing now. No money. No home. You're all I have left." Her words hit me like a cruel twist of fate. The woman who had abandoned me was now begging me not to abandon her. I stared at her, my chest rising and falling. Part of me wanted to laugh. Part of me wanted to cry. But most of all, I wanted her to feel the weight of what she had done. Finally, I said, "You left me alone at 15. Now it's your turn to know what that feels like." I stood up, leaving her frozen at the table, her hands trembling. But as I walked out of the cafe, something inside me whispered, this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning of her reckoning. I walked out of that cafe with my heart pounding. The image of my mother's tear-streaked face burned into my mind. For years I had dreamed of this moment, imagining what I'd say, how I'd make her regret what she did. And yet, as I stepped into the cool evening air, I realized her punishment had only just begun. Because fate has a funny way of balancing the scales. Over the next few weeks, she kept calling me. Sometimes it was desperate voicemails, her voice cracking, begging me to pick up. Other times it was text messages. I'm sorry. I need help. Please don't ignore me. A younger version of me would have run back to her. That boy, abandoned at 15, craved her love no matter how poisonous it was. But I wasn't that boy anymore. I was a man who had rebuilt himself from nothing. I didn't block her though. No, I let her words pile up. Each message a reminder that she was finally feeling what I had felt. Helpless, unwanted, desperate. One evening, I agreed to meet her again, but this time, on my terms. I took her to a modest apartment building where I had been helping out at a shelter. As we walked inside, the residents greeted me warmly. They knew me not as the abandoned boy, but as the man who volunteered, donated, and offered hope. She looked around, confused. Why are we here? I turned to her and said, because this is where people go when the world gives up on them. Just like you gave up on me. Her face went pale. You left me in an airport because you wanted luxury. You chose a man over your child. And now, after he's gone, you come crawling back because you have nothing. But here's the truth. Mom love and loyalty aren't things you can buy back when it's convenient. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Please, I know I don't deserve it, but I need you. You're all I have left. For a long moment, I stared at her. The crowd in the common room fell silent, watching. Finally, I shook my head slowly. No, Mom. You taught me what it feels like to be alone. Now it's your turn to live with that lesson. I handed her a brochure for the shelter, then turned and walked away. Her sobs followed me out the door, echoing in the night. As I stood outside, breathing in the crisp air, I felt something heavy lift from my chest. Not joy, not triumph, but closure. Because the truth is, I didn't need revenge. Her greatest punishment was knowing that when she had finally come back, when she had finally wanted me, I had already learned to live without her, and that was a pain she would carry for the rest of her life.